Thank you all for the warm welcome. Please put your hand up if anyone here has ever been hurt before. Please put your hand up once again if you've ever been hurt so badly, the only thing that kept you going was to envision yourself in a better place. Didn't think as many hands would stay up this time. Since the age of 6, it has been my dream to race motocross as a professional and to earn a living racing my motorcycle. I wanted to do so badly that I couldn't even just stick with one style of racing. I had to do it all. I raced motocross, supercross, arena cross, GNCCs, hare scrambles. Heck, I even tried speedway and flat track. I simply wanted to become the fastest and most versatile person on a motorcycle. In 2012, at the age of 16, I was at the pinnacle of my career. I had just qualified to Las Vegas for the Arena Cross Junior World Championships as only one of 2 Canadians to have earned a golden ticket. This is one of the largest amateur races in North America with tons of pro teams scouting future talents. It's so large, in fact, that if I finished top 3 in my class, I would earn my pro license right on the spot. Having qualified first, and second in all 3 of my classes, my family and I were hoping for a podium finish and looking forward to spending the 2012 season racing professionally all across the US. Unfortunately, we never made it to Vegas. A month before leaving for the event, I was practicing at a track in New York, and it was the first outdoor practice of the year. It was a warm March day, and the snow had just melted, which made the soil really soft with tons of ruts in all the corners and jumps. Having raced all winter long and being successful, I was coming in with some momentum. I was feeling good on the bike, grooving and in flow state. It was about midday, and I was racing across the back part of the track where there was 2 jumps and then a really long straightaway, and it was by far the fastest part on the circuit. I was catching another rider. I was doing it quick. I was already taking different lines, trying to make the pass stick, and just as we were side by side, I go to hit that first jump. I go to compress, but I hit a really weird rut. All my weight gets kicked forward, my vision goes black, and I'm left with the feeling of tumbling forward into nothing over and over again. They say that speed isn't the killer, but suddenly stopping, that's where the trouble is. I was going 100 kilometers an hour when I got sent head first over the handlebars into the takeoff of that second jump. My body folded in half as I came crashing to an instant halt. Imagine, you're going down the QEW, you're going 100 clicks, you get sent through the windshield head first into a brick wall. Man, it wasn't a pretty sight. I was paralyzed instantly. You know it's a bad crash when your fellow racers who see it pack up and immediately go home. Later, I'd find out from some of them that witnessing my crash is what turned them off from racing and began their early retirement. I managed to hit my head so hard that when the track medics ran over to me, they said that I wasn't breathing and I was bleeding from my nose, mouth, and ears. I was airlifted immediately to ECMC Hospital where I underwent surgery to stabilize my broken spine. All right, let's get technical. So I suffered a T7 burst fracture along with a T5 incomplete spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, and I now have a thoracic fusion from T5 to T9, which basically means that I broke my back right in half, I've got scarring on my brain, and I now have 2 titanium rods holding my spine together. Now, I know you may have heard of Iron Man, but at my old job, they used to call me Titanium Man. Talk about an abrupt life change. One moment, I'm preparing for the biggest race of my career, my dream come true. And the next, I'm lying in a hospital bed with no feeling or movement from my chest down. One of my first memories is getting transferred from the States to McMaster Children's Hospital, where I underwent a whole week's worth of testing. After which a group of 9 doctors came into my room, and they all looked very serious and somber as the head neurologist approached my bed. Now, you know, Pauly, you suffered a really bad crash, and you hurt yourself far beyond just breaking bones. You need to prepare to spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair. Here's a brochure. We'll get you sized up. You pick your favorite colors, styles, and you'll return to your community as a wheelchair user. What? Me? No way, this is crazy. How could this happen? This is temporary, right? This isn't permanent. I'm going to recover. There's a chance of recovery, right, Doc? I'm going to recover. Unfortunately, Pauly, your odds of recovering any sensation or function from your chest down are less than 2%. My goodness, I was crushed, devastated, and shook to my core. Hearing this news once is terrible, but having to go through it twice was just salt in the wounds. This whole scene happened so early in the morning that my parents had yet to arrive at the hospital. But at least for the second conversation, my dad was there where they told him, Mr. Plewa, you really need to get your home assessed so you can make the necessary modifications, wheelchair modifications, as your son isn't expected to walk again. My family, the nurses, heck, even the doctors, everyone was shaken by my test results. No one was prepared for this kind of news. Everyone's spirit in the hospital was extinguished, except mine. I was lying in my hospital bed with a slight smile on my face, holding that less than 2% chance so dear in my heart, thinking to myself, everything is fine. You're probably wondering how in the heck a 16-year-old, freshly paralyzed, bleeding from his brain, get handed some of the worst news that a kid can have and still remain positive and optimistic in such a tragic situation? And ladies and gentlemen, that's all thanks to my big sister, Dr. Kat. You see, she has always been in my corner. Through all of her years of education, post-secondary, all the reading, the learning, the research, all the things, she's practiced everything in real life with me. She's always been pushing me to better myself, to strive for greatness. She'd always tell me, make good choices, walking me to the bus every single morning. She taught me many valuable skills through all of my years, but one stands out the most, and that is the visualization. At the age of 11, we had decided to take my racing career seriously. If we were going to go pro, we were going to do it big and be a force to be reckoned with. We were doing a ton of cardio, and the part that I dreaded the most was running up the escarpment here in Stony Creek. Having a bad knee, the way up was torturous, and the way down, man, it was even worse. At a moment of my weakest, I turned to Kat, saying, I can't do this, man. This is tough, I'm tired, and this sucks. I don't want to keep going. She shook her head, looking me up and down, responding with, I know you're tired now, but picture this. It's the last round of the championship, and you're in second place. You're close behind first, and you can smell the blood in the water. You're both tired and sore, and it comes down to who wants it more. Visualize yourself catching him, visualize yourself passing him, and then visualize yourself holding up that number one trophy at the end of the weekend. So I thought about it, I visualized it, and then I got after it. I then took this skill, honed it, developed it, and made it my own. Every time I'd be at the racetrack preparing for my race, I'd be visualizing, sitting on my bike on the starting line, visualizing where my weight is, elbows are up, looking at the gate, dropping the clutch, twisting the throttle, moving my weight back as the rear tire's fighting for traction, visualizing working my way through the gears, looking to my left, looking to my right, gauging myself to my competition, fighting to get to that first turn first, visualizing attacking the opening part of the straightaway, the opening part of the track, working my way through all the rocks, the roots, the mud, passing all the individual riders one by one by one, finally getting to that leader. I'm visualizing catching him, passing him, taking that checkered flag, and boom, holding up that number one trophy. I would visualize every single detail. And if I had enough time, I would do this again and again, taking different lines on the track and visualizing different challenges, overcoming those different challenges. This same skill allowed me to show up to entirely foreign tracks all over the US, beating out 40 other guys in my class, winning 4 out of 6 races, only losing out to the guy who owns the track. So if I was able to take this skill on 2 wheels and win championships, then what's to stop me from applying that same very skill then to my rehabilitation and also being successful? So that's exactly what I did. I visualized the steps and not just the success. My end target was walking again and running. But every time I thought about that, I got depressed. The next day, all right, Pauly, put on your walking shoes, let's hit the road. Depressed, sad, discouraged. That tiny amount of progress that I made in that individual day hardly even made a dent in that giant mountain of a goal known as running again and walking again. So I had to break it down, just like I did in 2 wheels. I started with the way that I thought about myself. Rather than thinking about depressed, paralyzed Pauly, I then changed that to grateful, walking Pauly, and my rehab really started to take flight. I started with my toe. I visualized my toe twitching and moving, which was like being on the gate, elbows up, looking at the gate, getting ready to drop the clutch, twist the throttle. I visualized my foot and ankle activating, which was like working my way, fighting to get to that first turn, looking to my left, looking to my right, gauging myself to my competition. From there, I visualized my knee activating, gaining feeling. That was like attacking the opening part of the straightaway, maneuvering my way through the rocks, the roots, the mud. From there, my hip, visualized that, gaining control of my hip. And that was like staying low and fast on all the jumps, passing all the individual riders. Finally, I could activate and visualize my core and my back, which was like not only just passing, but gapping my competition, until finally I could visualize standing and walking, which was like taking the checkered flag and holding up that #1 trophy. Through my rehabilitation journey, I never lost sight of my athlete lifestyle, though. So naturally, I got involved in wheelchair sports. I used my visualization skills and practices to propel me to the highest level of my sport, which was wheelchair basketball. In a 2-year time window, I received an invitation from the Wheelchair Basketball Academy of Canada to play for the Canadian men's junior Paralympic team. And my goodness, what an incredible honor. What an opportunity to play globally and represent my country on the international stage. My goodness, as an athlete, that's what you dream of. But unfortunately, I had to respectfully decline. You see, I didn't want to be just like everyone else. I didn't want to be a disabled person playing a parasport. I wanted to become a person living with a disability, playing an able-bodied sport, and still being successful. I wanted to become an outlier. Didn't want to conform to the norms of society. I wanted to be an outlier. I wanted to use my story, my struggle, to show other people that no matter what hand of cards you're dealt, you can still live a happy, fulfilled life doing what you love. I continued on with my visualization practices. I worked on my body, working my way slowly but surely from a wheelchair to a walker, to 2 canes, to a single cane. And eventually, slowly but surely, fighting, clawing my way there, I'm able to be here in front of you folks, using no assisted devices and being 100% independent. Thank you. Having been bit by that racing bug, it's still in my blood. I still have that urge to go fast, win races, and chase championships. So I turned my passion from 2 wheels to 4. I did some research. I bought a car, and I started building from scratch. In motocross, we have a saying, with age, get a cage. I guess my age just came a little sooner than most. With the help of my dad, we turned a simple Honda Civic into a full-time race car, where 2019 marks our 3rd year back of racing full-time. We turned that little garage into a full-time race shop where we built a number of street cars and a handful of race cars. And in those 3 short years, my family and I, we have won 14 races, finishing on the podium 33 times, and bringing home 3 championships, all after paralysis. I don't plan to stop just here. Just like when I was 6 years old, I still have that dream, getting my pro license, doing what I love, and inspiring others. And I'm going to keep doing that every single day until I get there. What I want for everyone in this room to understand is the power of visualizing your future self. By doing so, you are able to prepare your mind, body, and spirit for what you want to see happen in your near future. Think of it like this. You're stuck in a really long, dark tunnel. The only way to get out is a doorway on the opposite side. The problem is that it's so dark you can't even see your hand in front of your face. What are you going to do? You have no choice. You take a step. When you take that first step, you happen to find a flashlight down by your side. And that flashlight is the skill of visualization. By using that, you are able to illuminate your path, seeing all those steps, everything that you have to step over, not bump into, all those challenges that you have to overcome to get to your final destination, whatever that destination is. No matter who you are, no matter where you are in your life, and no matter where you want to go with your life, by using this simple skill, you are able to illuminate the steps. Motivate yourself slowly but surely. Do all those baby steps. Fight and crawl your way to that opposite side doorway. And when you do, you better grab onto that door handle and bust it wide open and step into your future self. Thank you.